Hi everyone, my name is Adam Toseland. I'm the CRM Platform Architect for the Department of Industry, Innovation and Science. We might have changed their name now, I'm not quite sure. I did see resources in Northern Australia joining us, so we might do a change. Today I would just like to have a chat about how we're doing our automated deployment using CRM. Even though it says we are using Octopus Deploy, we are using VSTS for our builds in the cloud. We are deploying to CRM Online in the cloud, but we are using Octopus Deploy as our build server, and that is hosted in Azure in the cloud as well. So, a couple of slides from previous presentations you might have seen, my manager David Horn, just what our current workloads are. So basically we have 3 systems that are currently using CRM Online. Our new department CRM, which is basically CRM 2015 R1. We've got over 700 users, and we have loaded about 4.2 million records from the ABR dataset into there at the moment. We have the TMAS system and the KPCS system, and we have a number of on-premise CRMs as well, which range from CRM 2011 to CRM 2013 as well. Upcoming workloads that we have within the area that I work is we're in the process of trying to upgrade our departmental CRM. We've had 2 goes. And it's not the CRM's fault that we haven't been able to successfully upgrade. It's actually been the CRM from out of the client. We're having compatibility issues with our VDI environment. So we are in the process of doing that, and actually today I had to roll back 3 of our non-prod environments. And the good news was that it only took about 3 hours to roll them completely back, get them up and running with the full automated deployment again. So while that wasn't great to have to do that, it was good that it wasn't. It was as painless as that. We're looking to integrate our grants and service management sort of system into our core CRM. Currently it's being built in CRM Online in 2016. And some other, I suppose, systems within Online we're looking to bring into the departmental CRM over time. And Jeff, who's here in the audience, is the project delivery lead for that. So interesting. Our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. This is from the Agile Manifesto, and when I first read this years and years ago, it really struck a chord to me. At the core of development, I believe this is something that we should all strive for. And where this statement sort of, or this principle applies to what I'm talking about tonight is the continuous delivery. So with the automated deployment, it gives us the ability to deploy often, quickly, repeatable process. It sort of removes what we call, I suppose, the headache of human interaction. It's once you get the system working, you can be pretty confident that it doesn't matter who you give the task to, whoever's authorised, they can click a button and it's deployed through to whatever environment you're deploying to. Some of the benefits: it's faster, trusted, repeatable, auditable. It allows, like I said, more frequent deployments. It's much less error prone, not completely errorless, but much less. And any authorised person can do it. So this is our target. I'll say target because we're not quite there yet. Deployment zones. So up the top you see Project 14, which is now our CRM capability team. We have Project 4 and we have Project 16, which is our grants management project. Currently both Project 4 and Project 14 are integrated into the one delivery pipeline. They have their own dev, like sort of isolated CRM instances, but from the integration instance onwards, they are integrated. And integrated test, training, pre-prod, and then production. So something to look at this, we have multiple projects in parallel development running isolated sprints, but they are timed together. We run 4-week sprints, and we do a coordinated delivery at the end of that 4-week sprint. So I suppose traditionally with multiple projects like this, the complexity might have been they'd all have their own production instance of CRM, and the complexity would be any integration had to occur between those production instances. What we've done is shift that complexity from production basically to the integration point. So the integration point is where we have our complexity. Post that, there's pretty smooth sailing, and between these systems, they're all operating out of the same CRM instance, same data, especially with the load, like the fact that we've loaded 4.2 million of ABR records, we wouldn't want to have to load that in all of our production instances. So some of the complexities that we have had is we're deploying unmanaged solutions. We're not deploying managed solutions. So if we're using any third-party products that they're managed, but our solutions that we build internally are unmanaged. So we've had complexities around sitemap merging. So that's something we actually do as a part of our build process. We actually compare two instances of CRM, pull the XML out, do a merge, and then when we actually do our deployment, we deploy a new sitemap every time. It's separate to the solution though. It's not actually compliant as a part of any of the CRM solutions. And also ownership of the core CRM entities. So Jeff's project, the capability team, they own the core CRM components. Any changes that are made to those components, we coordinate through his team, and they're contained in his solution. So, for example, Project 4, what currently I believe does have the contact and maybe the organisation entity in there. They don't make any changes. They do have Jeff's solution in their development environment, and so those changes will flow through. But when we can upgrade all our environments in 2016, with a more fine-grained deployment and solution, you can have, we'll actually remove those entities completely out of their solutions and maybe just keep a relationship in there or whatever they have. Project 16 is a little bit more just our grants management. So we've actually engaged Fujitsu. They've brought, I suppose, an accelerator product in, and from that we've said, well, we need to enhance that. So we've been moving through enhancing that. Obviously, being something that was pre-built, they've made, I would say, significant customizations to contact an organisation. So that's a bit of a challenge for us to make sure they all play nicely together. But so far, they are in our tests. Just moving forward. So this is where we want to get to. This is where we are at the moment. So it's a little bit messier. And this is basically because we're unable to upgrade our production instance of CRM to 2016 at the moment. So we have two projects, Project 16, basically a CRM Online 2016 Update 1, running in isolation. We also have a portion of Project 14. They've built a product using the new voice of the customer. So they're running a dev and a test in isolation. This was only supposed to be for about a single sprint, but just due to our upgrade difficulties we're having at the moment, we're probably going to maintain that for a bit longer. Those projects are manually deploying the CRM. We have automated Azure Web App deployment through VSTS. But I suppose we'll make that determination in the next week or so whether we're going to automate those ones, because we're unsure about how long we'll have to keep them in isolation. So that's sort of it's fluid at the moment. We are working with Microsoft to try and get a resolution to the issues we're having, but we don't have a way forward yet. So this is the stack that we're using to do our automated deployment. So we're using VSTS as our source control and our build controller. We have our build servers are actually Azure servers. We're not actually using the hosted build controls. We have our own. So we kick our builds off. Packages get built. We're using the CRM package deployer, Octopus Deploy, and some PowerShell modules out of the CI framework and the ADX Studio Toolkit, and also some hand-rolled PowerShell modules that we've got. And I'll just actually kick off a build and sort of demonstrate what we do. So this is our VSTS instance with builds from multiple projects. So there's a number of projects, there's CRM projects and non-CRM projects we're using VSTS for. Right, so we actually have a two-step build process. So our first build that I just kicked off then, its sole job is to actually go and calculate what the build version needs to be, and we do that via the version number and the solution. So we'll go off to CRM. We'll say, what's your version number? Fantastic. Increment it by 1, brings that back. It actually updates another build definition and kicks off another build, and then from that point, we actually set the CRM solution numbers. We extract them out of CRM. We stamp all the DLLs, we set the version numbers, we create a merge sitemap. And one of the interesting things with the version number we're using a 4-point version number, and we're using just a major product number, the actual sprint number we're in, the number of releases in that sprint, and then we've just got an incremental count as the last number within that. And at the end of the build, basically, once it's run through, doing all the extracting, preparing the packages, it updates some config files, prepares the package, it actually pushes the package to our deployment server, and then it kicks off the build with Octopus Deploy. Just flip back and see that. I really am happy with VSTS as a product. Never really liked TFS so much. Used to tell my development mates using TFS and get laughed at a lot. But VSTS is really good. I really like the frequent release cycle that they're having, which is good. And so the good thing about the console here, you can see all the logging if you need to go through if there's any errors. We're almost done here. So basically what it's going to do now is push the package to our Octopus Deploy NuGet feed. So the output of our builds is actually a NuGet package. We have a feed, pushes it to the NuGet feed, and then that's a Octopus Deploy NuGet feed. And Octopus Deploy itself, it will then say, "Hi Octopus, for this project, please go and queue or release to this environment using this package number." And as you can see here, this is basically the dashboard you see in Octopus Deploy. So we have 3 CRM projects: the ATP, which is project 4 that I was referring to, the CRM core, which is the departmental CRM, and we have the CRM, which is the BGM. We haven't actually, even though the deployment's built, ready to go, we haven't actually used it because of our version incompatibility with CRM Online. And now you can see now that the little blue twirly thing, so the deployment's kicked off. That's deploying to our integration environment. You can open that up, see what's happening. Expand the logs, shows what it's doing now. So it's basically calling a web service to import. There's actually 2 solutions as a part of the departmental core CRM that it's actually deploying. It's getting the first one. It does take a while, unfortunately. So I think it takes about 5 or 6 minutes to deploy, which is not the greatest compared to a website or something like that. It's much faster, but that's unfortunately just what you put up with when you're deploying the CRM. I'll talk about some of the other things. So with Octopus Deploy, we're at an individual build that's happening now. You can step back and say, this version of package, where is it? You can see now that it shows you where it's actually been deployed. So this is the first time it's actually been deployed. You get a bit of a history of what's happening. Over on the left-hand side here, you can see the life cycle that actually applies to that deployment. So for CRM, our life cycle is we deploy to integration, we go to test, and then we go to any one of pre-production or training. If we're doing a production release, we always go to pre-production, but it's optional to go to training. And then once we have all our approvals and our change approvals within the department, we can just click through the product. But it is a linear life cycle. There's no skipping, cheating. I want to go straight from the integration to the product or anything like that. So we do enforce that. We don't have any gateway checks. If you have permission to deploy, you have permission to deploy, but that might be something that we look at in the future. If you step back another level for this project, you can sort of see, so you've got your release numbers here, and we actually push through their change sets comments from VSTS as well, so you can see who actual change that were committed, and you can scroll down through all the different releases here, where you can actually go back at the project level itself, and you can sort of see the different versions, what environments they're in, and if you did want to load any one of those versions to another environment, you can do it from here, which is pretty cool. Setting up Octopus is reasonably easy, and most of the hard work we're doing here is in PowerShell, so it wouldn't matter if we're using the release management product from Microsoft or this. It'd be pretty easy for us to switch because the hard lifting is actually done through the CRM package manager and how we wrap that with PowerShell. We have had some issues with the CRM package deployer, doesn't support our managed solutions very well, so we've had to do a bit of hacking around that. We're hoping maybe in later versions that's not so bad, but it works well, and it does give you the hooks to do pre and post deployment hooks, deploy data as well as the solutions. And it's been pretty robust. And the other good thing we do, like if something went down with our server here, we can grab the build artifact, we can put it on our desktop, and we can run the exe as well. So it does give us a fallback by using that product, which is really good. Let's go back and see where we're up to. Still going, still doing it. The first solution deploys is the big one. It does take a while. Some other features of Octopus, won't go into them too much, but we're talking about life cycles before, so you can come in here and for our different products that we're doing, BGA is business.gov.au, so it has a different life cycle to what we do, so you can apply each life cycle individually to a project. So that's our main CRM one there. We have a CRM dependencies that we haven't implemented yet, but the point of the dependency project is to basically, for a project that depends on, say, the core CRM, so I want to get the latest packages into my development environment, they just run an Octopus deployment and it actually pushes them there rather than them extracting the solutions out or going to the build server and getting the latest ones and then manually import. They can actually run them in, run the post-deployment task, and it's an internal pushback for our development environment. It's almost working, haven't looked at it for a little while. That's about it. So the future of what we're sort of looking at is actually upgrading our production to 2016 update 1, getting into our target state for our deployment pipeline, all systems deploying into the one CRM from integration up, not having so many sort of test environments that we currently have now. Getting the sort of CI deployments, the dependency ones I was talking about, doing some data-driven sort of entity tests, which is something that we work with. We've got some stuff that we just haven't implemented. It'll allow us to do basic CRUD tests across all of our CRM solutions, so sort of data-driven CRUD tests. So we are keen to wind them up. Doing some code UI tests to minimise the amount of regression testing we're doing per sort of production release. That would be very useful. Getting our Azure Web App deployments through Octopus Deploy, and basically having some integrations as more of an internal departmental thing with our, what we call Service Central, which is our change management ticketing system. They like us to, we're pre-approved for changes, which is really good and sort of almost unheard of in our department, but we'd like to let them know, and rather than having our release manager have to manually send something, we'd like to, at the end of the deployment process, just flick an email onto the system when it comes in and creates our change tickets for us. That's it for me.